The man created a super rifle, but when he tested its power, he found that the concrete surface only had a tiny bullet hole, but white smoke rose from the back. Everyone quickly stepped forward to check. They found that the 5-meter thick concrete was not only completely penetrated by the rifle, the temperature of the wall surface reached nearly 1,000 degrees. Even a nearby building suffered devastating damage. To further enhance the weapon's power, Nick installed a specially made battery pack. He also had his teammate set up a camera to record the whole process. As he pulled the trigger and fired continuously, a distant iron bridge collapsed in an instant. Everyone realized the rifle's immense destructive power. They immediately took the footage to meet with the military. They hoped to sell the weapon at a high price. However, the officer suspected the video was fake. They demanded that the man bring the weapon to a shooting range for a live test. When Nick pulled out a cartoon-style charging gun, the officer immediately showed a look of disdain, but the man remained very calm. He aimed at a heavy tank and pulled the trigger. The thick armor instantly melted away. The powerful shockwave knocked everyone present off their feet. The officer immediately told finance to prepare cash to purchase the rifle and its development technology. He urgently asked for the price. Nick opened his mouth and asked for a sky-high price of $100 million. Unexpectedly, the officer agreed without hesitation. He even promised to gather the funds within 3 days. But Nick didn't expect that the officer had already begun plotting a conspiracy behind his back. Soon the day of the deal arrived. Although Nick was eager to receive the massive fortune, he still had doubts in his heart. To be on the safe side, Nick carefully entrusted the goods to his teammate, and he went alone to the agreed location. Sure enough, what awaited him was not a monetary exchange, but cold weapons and threats. Even more despairing was the fact that his family had already been taken hostage by the officer. Nick had no choice but to compromise. His teammate handed over all the weapons and data to the officer. After confirming everything was correct, the officer released his family, but in fact Nick had already made preparations. He had implanted a tracker in the weapon. Then Nick led his team to launch a quick strike. They set up a signal booster on the rooftop as they monitored the movement of the vehicle. Once the vehicle entered range, Nick immediately pulled out the newly developed second-generation super rifle. He calmly pulled the trigger. The shell instantly destroyed the vehicle, but just as Nick was about to leave, an unexpected event suddenly occurred.